What's going on, guys? The Arid Lords here. This is a little bit of a bootleg setup, but I wanted to jump into the reviews for The Walking Dead now that we have the new episodes. Sorry that I haven't really made any official, preview or, upcoming, episodes prediction. Just really busy these days. My time, to dedicate to the channel is not obviously what it used to be. But this is, the final stretch for the show, and I know I told people that after this stretch of episodes that I'd be closing things up for the channel. I did get some nice feedback on the last video I made where some people were, actually commenting and were like, oh, I'd miss your content if you left. So with all of the shows coming out next year, and obviously for me, I've been waiting to know the fate of Rick Grimes for how long has it been? 4 or 5 years now? So knowing that we have an official release date for the Rick and Michonne series next year, and I think with the consistency of my channel, I'll still be around to make those videos. I don't imagine my free time will change as much as it is now. It's probably going to be just as busy, and then I'll have time every once in a while to make a video. So I think that being said, I will still make the review vlogs, for not just that, but I'll also do it for Walking Dead City. I am interested. Because literally, I feel like The Walking Dead's not ending in a couple of weeks. It's really just continuing in 3 different shows. For me, that's the Daryl Paris show, the Walking Dead City with Negan and Maggie, and then you've got Rick and Michonne up with the CRM conflict. So we're just getting pieces, and I imagine all of it is going to connect to the CRM. I imagine that the CRM's doing something in Manhattan. Obviously, Rick was captured by them, and we had that teaser at the end of World Beyond where it showed the fast walkers, and it seemed like there was some sort of CRM-based project there in France, in Paris, and now, ironically, that's where the Daryl show is going to take place. We are relying on these remaining episodes to give us a teaser / lead-in to all of these shows. But before I discuss that, let's start off with the 2 episodes that we actually had from last night. If you'll allow me, I want to actually get the names of these episodes. So episode 17 was Lockdown, and A New Deal was what we had for episode 18. Now, it was a double premiere because AMC Plus, you get to see both episodes, and I do have AMC Plus. I didn't even know I had it. I logged into an account, and I was like, this is charging to somewhere. So those were the 2 episodes. So jumping in with the review of episode 17, they don't waste any time. And I guess that's what's required when you only have a few episodes to wrap everything up. Because I was curious, there were a couple of angles of this. There was the rioters dealing, with Pamela Milton, her, political support and what that was going to look like. And then there was the Hornsby conflict where he was trying to just get rid of his adversaries as quick as possible to clean up the mess of what's happened and also consolidate his power with the territories that, he captured all of, Alexandria, Hilltop, Oceanside. We never got the resolution of what happened with Oceanside when he flipped the coin. So I don't know, maybe he killed some of them. Maybe he just imprisoned them. I don't really know. They didn't really expand upon that, but we just jump right into the action. Hornsby and his soldiers are still trying to find Daryl, Maggie, and the rest. And then Negan and Daryl devise a cool plan where they divert the forces. So Negan's going to go to so I guess they're closer to the Commonwealth, and I guess that's believable. So, they abandoned, since the Commonwealth took over their territories of Alexandria and Hilltop, they left, and they're going towards the Commonwealth. And I guess it's a race of who can get to the Commonwealth first. And Negan, Daryl has Negan go because Negan's never been to the Commonwealth, which for me, I was so excited because I've always been advocating for this. I want to see him in the Commonwealth because I think it was a mistake for Kirkman not to have him involved in that storyline. And the Commonwealth storyline felt incredibly bland and underutilized in the comics. As I've criticized Kirkman, the Whisperer arc and the Commonwealth arc felt really bland and poor. And this is this is where I feel like he was losing his luster as a writer, and that's also why he ended it. I think he was just running out of material as well as just wanting to end the comics. But they've done it much, and like the Whisper arc was 1,000 times better that Angela Kang has done in the show. And even the Commonwealth arc, I'm not sure, I'm iffy on it right now, but it's kept me involved because we have two villains simultaneous, and maybe a third if you count Sebastian. You have Hornsby, who is really our bigger villain, and he was not a prominent character at all in the comics. He was just a sideline character processing new immigrants, and there was no expansion upon him or anything. And it's amazing what they've done with this character. They've basically made a new character because none of this material, none of his conniving, manipulative attitude, none of that was in the comics. And so you have this kind of like little psycho that's trying to carve out his piece. It's almost like imperialistic, Great Britain. Like he's trying to carve out his piece of the empire and keep it to himself, secret from like the crown, if you would consider Pamela Milton like the queen in the crown. So they like it's cool because there's Daryl taking down the Commonwealth soldiers. Like there was some cool action scenes. It is believable because, like, the Commonwealth soldiers haven't, and I wrote this in a comment to someone, they haven't seen combat. I mean, these guys, you have to assume the only things they've been shooting at the past couple of years have been walkers. Like, unless they have encountered the CRM, which I don't know, and I hope we get some type of clarification because there are still a lot of lingering plot points with only a few episodes left, and I don't really think there's time to talk about the Commonwealth at all. And Scott Gimple teased that these two groups know about each other, so I don't know where the hell, maybe it's in one of the other shows we'll get that answer, but right now I really don't freaking know. But these guys don't have combat experience, the Commonwealth soldiers. They've only been shooting at walkers, and we know Daryl and the rest of our crew, the war against the governor and especially the war against the Saviors in Negan. I mean, there was a lot of, the outposts, and that war dragged on for, as everyone knows, a very long time. And our group is very, very versatile with firearms. And so despite the big bulky armor these Commonwealth soldiers had utilized, it's just for show. Like I don't feel like that's what's been conveyed, that they've got some tactical training, but like they don't have like the combat experience. And so Daryl is able to just outmaneuver these guys. And there's the scene where Hornsby's just getting pissed. He's like, just kill him. Like he's just like flabbergasted that his soldiers are just getting picked off by this one guy just like over and over again. It's a shame we haven't seen Daryl with his crossbow in a while. I mean, obviously the crossbow is not going to do anything against the guys with their armor. And, and a single shot assault rifle is going to be much more efficient. But yeah, I've enjoyed the combat so far. Like the fight scene from episode 16 beforehand was probably one of my favorite combat sequences in the entire show, where they're in that like the scrapyard with the broken down vehicles, and the Commonwealth soldiers try to converge on Gabriel, Aaron, and Daryl, and they have to like outmaneuver them. That was one of my favorite fight scenes the show's ever done. And so they're still playing that game of cat and mouse. So then they devise a plan. So they send Negan to the Commonwealth, which I think it was a throwback to when he first saw Alexandria. Like his face when he's in the Commonwealth and he's like looking around. Like I just love that little smile. I would love to know what he was thinking in that moment, because as someone who had control over, he had probably the second largest army / group to the Commonwealth. Like the Whisperers didn't. I mean, you can't really count a herd of walkers as having population. They were just nomads. So, and then the governor, Terminus, like none of these groups could compare. So it was really Commonwealth and Negan in terms of like a civilization of people and a system. And this is like the biggest system we've ever seen, and now Negan's getting to see it. And it's just really fascinating because it's something from the comics we didn't get. Like, I would have loved to have seen Comic Negan's reaction to this mega society, considering he was trying to make some version of that. Like, I think he had a vision for trying to make something like that. Like, he had it in a sense where you had the sanctuary and then you had the outposts. Like, it was a mercenary empire. Like, it wasn't anything to write home about, but like he had a sizable force. So it's cool to see that little smile from him. And then I also didn't realize, I was like, oh, he and Jerry have never had a scene together, and they have that scene where I was like, oh, that's cool. I was kind of hoping that Ezekiel would also be involved in that scene, because Ezekiel and Negan have also never shared a scene together, even though he called him King Assface back in season 8. So I almost was hoping Ezekiel was Jerry in that situation, because we've never had Ezekiel and two prominent leaders at one point. I mean, they don't lead their communities anymore. Ezekiel being the former leader of the kingdom and Negan being leader of the Saviors. Would have loved to have seen, I hope, we only have a few episodes left, but I would have loved to have seen, a scene or two with them in it. So yeah, they devise this plan. Carol then teams up with Negan, and they're gonna, so the plot of the episode is them trying to plant this, the using the people to get money that they're blaming Sebastian for. They're going to blame Hornsby instead. And so Pamela is okay with this because A, she's always seen Hornsby as a political rival who's been a thorn in her side, and B, cares about her son at the end of the day. And so she's just trying to look, also I feel like she's just trying to look for a quick solution to this whole problem. So she's like, yeah, okay, like she takes the deal, fairly quickly. I mean, I think there's just no, like, the citizens aren't backing down. Like, all the riots that we see, and it's nice because, we get, like, the scene, with tear gas. Like, it felt, I did kind of feel like the show was influenced by some, like, modern events. Like, maybe, like, the George Floyd incident that happened in 2020 with some of the Black Lives Matter riots that happened in that summer of 2020. It gave me, like, that they took some contemporary inspiration. These people are, it's the same kind of thing, like fighting for injustice. And so these people are advocating and fighting for injustice. And I mean, they're not easily swayed. You see that, like, when Pamela talks, they're just like not like, they're like, yeah, okay, we've heard your bullshit over and over and over again. And then, Yumiko, like, there's that scene where Yumiko kind of gets through to them and they like disperse a little bit. But yeah, it's very, just chilling. And then I don't know who, I think they work for Hornsby, like fake Stephanie and that, like, bald guy. They're almost like Commonwealth mercenaries, the ones that Carol's hiding from. Because they kill all of those people. I think it's the next episode. They kill all of those workers. And so, so then we get to the end of episode 17, right? And Daryl devises a trap, captures Hornsby, and then Mercer, Pamela, they come in, and I don't know how the hell they knew where they were. Maybe it was Negan who told them where they were, because Negan is with them. But they capture Hornsby, so he's in jail. But like in episode 18, you see him through the prison bars giving orders to those two people who we knew from the Eugene episode were pulling strings behind the scenes and manipulating things. So Hornsby, even though he's captured, still has an angle in all of this. I don't know what it's going to be now, because now we get to one of the more shocking things that happens in these two episodes. At the end of episode 18, now this is a huge spoiler for any of you who have not watched this episode, but Sebastian's dead. Sebastian gets killed. Max, even though, so, okay, to back up, the deal kind of works. And it's weird because, like, the past two episodes, 16 and 17, were building to this explosion point of tension, with Hornsby trying to kill them, trying to get back to the Commonwealth to, like, out them as, like, almost like wanted posters, like, basically to put them on the blacklist. And Daryl, Negan, and the rest are able to outmaneuver Hornsby and get Pamela on their side. Like, they basically achieve a victory. And there's a temporary peace. Like, we see them with their normal lives in the Commonwealth. Like, even Negan is there with his wife, and they get the ultrasound. Like, everything's just in this calming. It's almost like a calm before another storm. And so I'm like, this is odd. Like, I thought we would just have like a nonstop break point to the end here, but it seems like some stuff is wrapped up now that Hornsby's captured and Pamela seems okay with this deal for now. But Max isn't. That's the one thing that Max is, and Eugene. They're like, yeah, like Sebastian's a little shit. Like we're basically the deal solved nothing. The deal that Carol made and that they worked out solved nothing to fix the actual political problems in the Commonwealth. So then she records Sebastian bashing, him bashing the Commonwealth and talking about how it's rigged and the rich will get richer. It's maybe a commentary on America with the top 1% of the 99%. Like if I'm doing my best Bernie Sanders impression. But yeah, it's a plot that they devise, and then there's Founders Day when they have this wrestling match, which I guess was a football game in the comics, which you would have had a much, much larger set. And you can tell, like, that's the thing, like, I feel like the Commonwealth is far bigger than we're being shown, but we're only being shown a few locations. Like, that town square is a pivotal location. We have, like, outside the school. There's only, like, a few locations from the Commonwealth, but I feel like there's more places that, like, I think it's, obviously, they don't have the budget for all of it. To have like a massive city, which it is. I mean, and you see when they pan out, when you see the Walker horde coming towards, like, you can see like the walls, like it's a huge community that's like walled up and it's all like a big suburban town. So yeah, I mean, you can't always show all of that, but yeah, so to get back to the original point, Max plays this tape of Sebastian talking about how politics work and how the society is structured, and exposes him. And he flips out and tries to go after her. And then all of the walkers, that those people, like, did they not shoot them in the head? Like, did Hornsby want this? That was what I was thinking. I was like, oh, did he want those walkers to reanimate and attack people? Like, I didn't know if Hornsby was doing this as, like, guerrilla tactics to just, I don't know what his angle is now. Like, now that he's locked up and he's got his mercenary people doing his bidding, I don't know what his angle is. Like, because like Eugene goes to him to get dirt on Sebastian, and he's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, he doesn't really like say yes or no. Like, he's kind of like in between. And so these walkers get unleashed and pandemonium. Like, there's so many people gathered, and these, like, it kind of reminded me of like the Woodsbury with the governor, when those walkers get loose and like things are kind of normal and then they go to complete shit. So these walkers are taking people out. And one of the people they kill is Sebastian. Like, he tries throwing the walker into Max, but then Eugene intervenes. And so I guess Eugene kind of kills Sebastian. If you had to say, like, who's the cause of death, like, I guess it's like Hornsby / Eugene. And I would never have seen this coming. This was so shocking because for comic book readers, if anyone is, that Sebastian, spoiler alert, in the comics kills Rick Grimes. It's actually like the ultimate climax of the entire comics, that after Rick like imprisons Pamela and fixes the like, basically they achieve like a total victory in the Commonwealth, and then Sebastian goes to Rick's room late at night and just murders him essentially in his sleep. And I feel like it was done for shock value. Like, it totally done for shock value. Because, again, like, this is Kirkman. Like, the typical Kirkman is, to disguise bad writing with shock value. And it's almost like a Shyamalan tactic. And I don't mean to beat up on Kirkman. I do think he has a little bit of an inflated ego. And I also, because a lot of that later writing, as I talked about, the way the Whisperer and Commonwealth arcs were established in the comics, I didn't feel like it was done properly. A lot of things were rushed. I feel like he was like, they say like plotting versus pantsing, like in terms of like writing for long term. I feel like he was just, I don't know how far in advance he structures it, but I feel like he was just flying by the seat of his pants. Like, oh yeah, in this issue this happens. And oh wait, we didn't resolve that. Okay, that character just dies. Like it was so all over the place. So then things just don't make sense when, and they feel like drawn out, and like I don't think he ever had an end game for the Commonwealth. It's like, okay, the Commonwealth is this super secure fancy society. What's the conflict? Like it's just Pamela and Rick arguing about politics for multiple issues. And then it gets resolved in one giant multi-page speech by Rick Grimes. And it's just like, this just feels dumb and lame. So I've really preferred, obviously so far the TV version's winning me over. Like the way they've done it, and having Hornsby as a secondary villain was a brilliant move by Angela Kang once again. Like they always, for the Commonwealth arc, it was giving Alpha and Beta more of like a backstory, which really worked so that their deaths were more impactful. Didn't really like the Beta death. I think the season 10 finale was really weak. I don't know if that was from the pandemic or not, but I was really hoping for like a fight scene from the comics where Beta and Negan and Daryl like have like a showdown. That I was disappointed with. If I had to say, I think the finale of the Whisperers was like pretty bad. Like I felt like the episodes beforehand, like the Hilltop War was good, but that final episode where all the walkers converge around the hospital, like it was just like no major characters die. Like that one girl from Oceanside died, and that was it. Like it's kind of a poor episode. But that's the only knock I'll give Kang for now, for both the Commonwealth and the Whisper arcs, which is really what she's taken over since Scott Gimple stepped down at the end of the Savior War. So I'm surprised that they did this. To go back to my original point with Sebastian, I'm really surprised they did this because he is like the out of nowhere character that kills our like the predictions, like who's Sebastian gonna kill? Who's the main character that he could kill? I was almost thinking it could be Carol now that she's not gonna be involved in the Daryl spinoff show. And it is annoying because with all these spinoffs, we know 3 main characters who don't die. Because Negan and Maggie are in the Walking Dead city, and Daryl is in his own show. So that's 3 huge characters who we know survive. Because they're in, and unless the show is something else and maybe like the show is fake or something, I would be crazy if they did that. But it's annoying because I always thought that maybe, Daryl would die at the very end or something like that. But he has his own show, so that's not happening. Like it's just very, that goes to an earlier complaint that I voiced, that these shows are spoiling, who's alive and who's not, which is stupid. But yeah, I'm surprised because now it's basically down to Pamela Milton and Hornsby for our final villains of this show. Like Pamela, it seems like she is going to kind of go a little crazy now that her son was killed, and like maybe that's going to unlock a different side of her, which is, again, we are now in completely uncharted territory for the comics, because not only that, they're teasing the Fast Walkers, like in episode 19, like that, because there's that plot point, like there's potentially CRM stuff, and then like the Fast Walker plot line, which they're going to have to introduce it quickly and wrap it up quickly, because we don't have many episodes. And again, I have faith that these will do well, but I really wish we had like a full season 12, that we had 8 and then we had another back end 8 episodes. Like we really should have had a season 12 to give, like, to wrap everything up, to tease us into the CRM. I feel like we should have done that, because then you could have had those back 8 episodes of season 12 go into the spring of 2023. And then a few months later, you have all your shows, Dead City, Daryl, and the Michonne and Rick show. So then there's no delay. You just go right into it. So like, I feel like that was pretty practical for them to do, and they didn't do it. So I'm kind of confused by that. Let me know what you guys think, especially about the Sebastian death. I'm really surprised that they went this route. Like truly, I did not think he was going to die. In the context of the story, like, it makes sense. Like it makes sense from watching it. Like, no one's gonna help this fucking little shit. Like, he just told all these people they're trash. There was the earlier accusations about him, and it's kind of, chilling. Just everyone, no one's helping him. Like, they're just watching this, like, guy just get, devoured by a fucking walker, and it's just like, wow, damn. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen now. I don't know who Pamela's going to blame. I mean, she's got to blame Max and Eugene, right? Like, does she know who played that tape? Obviously Sebastian did because he was in the room with her. Um, but yeah, it's kind. I'm a little surprised because things things happen rapidly. Like, I thought the Hornsby conflict would be dragged out a little longer. Like, I really was thinking that he was going to be renegade and that he was going to be, like maybe he would have retreated back to Alexandria and like formed a separate army there and said to the Commonwealth, like, these are my territories, you can have yours, like, I'm not backing down. I'm just surprised he was captured so quickly. I hope that there's some reason why they have him captured and that there's like a bigger thing that he's planning, but I am a little surprised. Like, the pace of this went quicker than I was expecting, and Sebastian dying also was a pretty big shock. So two shocks, one in terms of pacing, one killing off a major character who is involved in a major plot twist at the end of this whole arc. So anyway, that's it for the review. Let me know what you guys think. This is like 17 and 18 just together because I watched them together. They both came out at the same time, which is, I guess, cool. 2 episodes for the there's only 6 episodes now. Like, that's the thing. Like, I've already eaten into like 25% of the content we're getting, which is crazy in one day. So I mean, again, like, once I finish this, it won't feel like the end of The Walking Dead because there's 3 different shows that are going to give us more content. Like, the story continues. The story of The Walking Dead will continue, and we're going to get, the fast, like, I don't expect them to wrap up the Fast Walker conflict. Like, do I expect them to wrap up the Pamela Milton Hornsby stuff? Yes. The Fast Walkers? No. That will be the Daryl show or the whole, like, this. It's the CRM. Like, there's experimentation, something they're after with that. We saw that in World Beyond. It was really the only purpose World Beyond showed us, like the back end of how the CRM works. Because the kids were boring as hell, but we got lots of context. We saw Jadis. So the show is going to leave us with some lingering things. It'll probably have like a really critical end scene. I'm guessing the final scene's going to be Rick. like there's going to be one final scene at the end of The Walking Dead, kind of like the Edwin Jenner teaser scene that was at the end of World Beyond. We're going to get like a Rick Grimes scene. And maybe he's closer than we thought. There's like some twist with Rick is what I'm saying. Or there's going to be some twist with the Fast Walkers. But they're not going to wrap it up in the show is what I'm saying. They'll introduce it, but it almost makes me wonder why introduce it if you're not going to wrap it up in the show. I don't know. It's weird. Again, the way they're doing this is just so unconventional. I have to kind of like pause, and it's weird. It's weird the way this is going, but at least we know when all the new content's coming out, and we can just kind of wait and sink our teeth into it when it comes out. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about the episode. For the next review, I'll have like the whole setup with the the images and stuff, and make it look like more like when I have XSplit. I'm not even recording this via XSplit. I'm doing this on my freaking phone just because I'm in different locations and I'm so bootleg right now. But you can still do the review. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about the whole Sebastian thing and the pace and all that. And I'll see you later. Thanks.